Alrighty. Welcome back, everybody, to Harbor Discussions. Today, I am here on a Zoom call for the first time on Harbor Discussions with the Virginia hardcore band Betty Gray. If y'all would just quickly introduce yourself by your name and then your role in the band.
Yeah, I'm Billy. I'm a bass player.
My name's Joel. I do vocals.
AJ, vocals, guitar.
Mikey, drums.
Hell yeah. And just quickly promote like where people can find you on social media and then where can they listen to Betty Gray at.
So we have the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Bandcamps. We are on all the streaming things. We got a couple records out there. Just dropped a new one.
Yep, we're going to talk all about those and everything like that. First and foremost, I wanted to just bring up the fact that when I first started this podcast, I and maybe one of my other guests had said, hey, if anybody wants to come on Harbor Discussions, I would say like, feel free to message me and whatnot. Y'all were the first and for like the longest, probably the only, you still might be the only people to actually message me and say, hey, we'd like to come on. One other band did, but y'all were the first. So I really want to thank you for that because it meant a lot to me, especially like it still means a lot now, but at the time, like I was just starting and everything like that. And I'm from Maryland and y'all are from Virginia. So to be like, wow, I'm already getting some recognition from like states away, that truly meant a lot. And I kind of wanted to ask, how did you hear about the podcast and what were your like first initial thoughts on it?
I think we have a few mutual friends. Justin
Yeah,
from Consumed and Mortal One. Little segue there.
I gotcha. So from what I understand, were all of you born and raised in Virginia?
I'm originally from North Carolina. I can't speak for everybody.
Yeah, what about?
That's where I think.
Yeah, Virginia born and raised.
Yep.
Alrighty, so if y'all just want to talk about what it's like you can talk about growing up in North Carolina, and y'all can talk about Virginia and stuff. What it's like in general, what your upbringing was like.
Well, I've lived here since like 2012, so going on over 10 years. Kind of got a job and moved here to be closer to my grandparents out of college.
Okay.
And I've been here ever since.
Would you say that there's any big differences between Virginia and where you were before?
Yes, it's a lot more expensive in Virginia. It is a lot more expensive in Virginia, and I don't know it's relative to how expensive it is in Virginia, but there is more opportunity in Virginia than there is in North Carolina.
Gotcha.
As far as employment goes.
And what part of Virginia do y'all come from specifically?
Three of us are in Fredericksburg, and another one is like looking to move to Fredericksburg, but not quite, not quite yet.
I'm from Matulka, man. Nobody knows where that is, but it's near Petersburg.
I gotcha. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, that's just how it is, though. When you live in like a random city, you gotta like reference other places and stuff. Like, if you're not from Maryland and I'm like, I live in Westminster, they're like, the fuck? You gotta be like, it's near Baltimore, From what I understand, y'all met kind of as friends who knew each other from other bands, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So quickly talk about like what other bands y'all were or are in and like just what kind of discography you have out with your other bands.
I guess I'll start. For me, I was in a metal band. We did like a lot of different types of metal, prog, death metal, black metal. It was called Flood the Asylum. We put out one album called Melody of Tragedy, and then COVID kind of, put a bullet in that brain.
As it did with lots of things.
That's it for me.
I was in a few North Carolina bands from here on out, Samuel 622. But since I've been in Virginia, I was in a band called Genosha for about 7 years and started Betty Gray with AJ and Mikey like the beginning of last year into the year before.
Yep. Cool.
Been in a few punk bands over the years. Most recently, What Price Victory, the Donalds, some hardcore band, and Joel and I started this. We've been rocking ever since.
Cool.
Yeah, I played with Billy for a little while and for the Asylum, like filling in and stuff. And I played with Tempo Knot and a few other bands in the past. So handful.
Okay. Gotcha. And then quickly talk about just more or less how Betty Gray formed, officially.
Joel, I think Joel reached out to me. I don't know how it worked for me.
Yeah, we've like at different periods, I think like I've talked to like everybody in this room about like doing a side project, but we're in different bands doing different things. So it just happened that the stars aligned and the time was right. And here we are.
Gotcha. Now,
Our discussions.
yep. So obviously y'all are hardcore, and when I was looking at Bandcamp, Instagram, stuff like that, I noticed the phrase goatcore came up. So I kind of wanted you to talk about that. Is there like lots of goats in Virginia?
Well, I was raised on a goat farm.
I gotcha. So is that where it comes from?
It has multiple origins. I don't think it's fair for an animal as majestic as a goat to be pigeonholed to just one
Goat
certain
hole.
love.
I gotcha. And I wanted to talk about like influences and stuff like that. Specifically, there's like some big Virginia metal bands, like Lamb of God, Municipal Waste, Cannabis Corpse, stuff like that. Who are your big influences coming up and stuff like that? It doesn't have to be Virginia based either, but I figured, we could also have like a Virginia metal discussion and whatnot.
I say for me, like my two biggest influences were GNR and Pantera. I'm a
Okay.
90s kid, all through and through. As far as like Virginia based, I like Human Infection. It's a death metal band out of Roanoke.
Okay.
Next.
Man, I like all kinds of different stuff. I sure do. As far as like heavy music, I really like old 90s, early 2000s New York hardcore.
Okay.
Some of the stuff from the 80s too. I love Madball. I love Sick of It All, Sheer Terror.
The classics.
Yeah. But I listen to a lot of hip hop and country and weird stuff too. Lately I've been really getting into Nickelback, Three Doors Down, Smack.
Okay.
Like I've shitted on those bands my entire life ever since of hearing them, but I finally gave them a chance, and man, I get it.
He's
Yeah.
serious, by the way.
I think the Nickelback thing has just become so much of a joke now that it's just like it's like it's a fad to hate on Nickelback,
Well, the new joke is seriously, it's not that bad.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't think their music's bad at all, but like lots of stuff just gets overplayed is all.
That's true.
Yeah, I work in a warehouse that plays the same fucking music every day, and they play good songs too, which sucks. Like classic rock songs that I can no longer enjoy. The shit comes on the radio, I gotta switch it immediately.
Yes.
Is it the same? Is it the same playlist over and over again?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they'll switch genres and stuff, but yeah, it's the same shit.
What song do you look forward to the most?
Oh, definitely, some of the classic rock songs. Like I think Rhiannon by Fleetwood Mac comes on. That's a little relaxing song, I suppose. ZZ Top, when ZZ Top comes on, I don't mind. Stuff like that. But I like Living on a Prayer comes on, I get pissed. That song. Don't Stop Believing. I told Yeah. I told my dad though that the only thing that is saving Don't Stop Believing is that I can think of The Sopranos. You know what I mean? That's the only fucking reason I can even still tolerate that song, is I could just think of Tony for a second.
I'm gonna go with
I wanted y'all to also.
Avail.
What's that?
Also, I'm gonna go with Avail Guar. As far
Okay.
as Richmond stuff and Beretta.
Cool. Cool.
Anything classic punk or hardcore.
Solid.
Some old school country to Kesha. We're big Kesha fans over here.
What about you, Mikey?
Yeah, I listen just everything growing up. I listened to like a lot of Creed and Cambria and fucking just like punk rock 2000 or punk rock in like 2002 to 2006 screamo. Like Name Taken, like stuff like that, like emo bands and shit. Or stuff. So that's about it. But I listen to everything, country, fucking just about anything.
Gotcha. Now, I wanted y'all to give a shout out to some like other local Virginia hardcore bands that people might not know about.
Yeah.
Look out for Hard Facts. It's gonna be a new band. They haven't released anything yet, but my boy Palmer's doing drums for them.
Slat.
Yeah. Yes, that's cool.
To get off.
Get
To
off.
get off.
Lacking.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, from what I understand, the first Betty Gray show was with Undesiccated and Nequiant, right?
That is correct.
All right. Do y'all want to talk about that first show? Maybe like what your feelings were going into it, and then also kind of compare how you are now at your most recent show.
I barely remember it. That might be for a good reason. It was also, I do remember it being a weekday and a last minute thing. So I'd like to think we've came miles and miles since.
We didn't even have a full band for that
Yeah.
show, right? We were missing a guy down.
Wow. And I read that y'all played 44 different shows in 2022. And so that's kind of a lot to go through and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to ask y'all if there were some significant shows that you wanted to mention.
Just about anything Crayola House is fucking badass and a good time. We love that place. In Harrisonburg, Virginia. It's like a fucking sweet basement.
Yeah, it's
This
a
is
little
cool.
DIY spot. It's been going on and having shows like since the 70s. It's
Okay, hell
gone
yeah.
different names. You can YouTube footage of bands from all varying stages of their career playing there, like early on.
That's cool that it has history and stuff like that as well. I love DIY spots, but they usually do not last that long. Like all the ones in my area, like I don't even think they're around anymore.
I feel like that's the general rule, but it seems like Crayola is an exception. It goes through a lot of different hands and it still has the same vibe. I mean, shit doesn't start there till late, but it's always a good time. And for some reason, the kids are never exhausted.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I could be wrong, but like that's just people who don't like be coming from work and stuff. Cause I just be too tired half the time to do anything, man. I hit like 4 shows in the last 5 days, and like I'm glad I didn't like go all crazy because I'd be dead right now. I'd be so
What show
tired.
did you go to?
So I started on Tuesday. I saw this guy NASCAR Allo. He does rap with like a lot of metal influence, so he brought some people with him. And then Thursday I saw it was Alienator, Doubt, Scramble, and Tripper. Friday I saw it was Vosh, Poison Ruin. I gotta go and check who it was. Yeah, it was Vosh, Artificial Brain, Poison Ruin, and Decimus. And then yesterday I checked out Consumed with Hatred, Crucial Rip,
Oh yeah.
Scrutinize, Cancer Priest, and Ground. So
Nice. That was
yeah.
at the Shamrock Inn.
yeah, I wasn't even intending to go to that. And I saw Jake post about it last minute from Suckawat. He's like saying how he couldn't go. And I was like, huh. I was like, because I just interviewed Justin from Consumed with Hatred. Sharm was one of my first interviews back in the day. He was the first one on camera too. So I was like, this is a good show to go to. So yeah, I told myself I was gonna go to more shows, and it's like when you work and stuff, you kind of always have that excuse of just like being tired and stuff. I was like, just go.
Go on.
Plus, tickets really aren't that expensive at the smaller shows, which is nice. You can go to like 6 for the price of 1 at some of the other big shows.
That is true.
Yeah, the Chug-a-Lug's a good spot. That's cool. Our buddy Brandon. It's that joint. That's fun. It's Rich Finn.
What was your favorite show last year?
Well, that hasn't been mentioned. That HP Love Draft spot was pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, there's that spot in Harrisburg. So he just said Harrisonburg, Virginia. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania has
Yeah.
a really cool microbrewery there, and it's kind of like a Lovecraft themed. And there's
Yeah.
like retro games there. The stage is, in my opinion, one of the most awkward things in the universe, but it's
Dude, the South Carolina show was bad.
Charleston?
Yeah.
The house show
fucking
in Charleston?
sweet,
Yeah.
dude.
That was
That
Columbia.
was awesome. We love DIY
Oh,
spots,
Columbia?
man.
yeah.
That's our shit. That's what we like
One of those
thrive
scene
on is
towns.
DIY spots, man.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. So in a post,
YMB.
I saw that y'all said if you like American Nightmare, Sheer Terror, or Maylene, to check out Betty Gray. And I saw that y'all ended up playing with Sheer Terror at the Pie Shop, right?
Yep.
So was that kind of big for y'all? I'm assuming they
Yeah.
were inspirations and stuff.
Absolutely. It was a hell of a
Legendary.
good time. It was it's cool to see a band that I've been listening to since I was like pre-pubescent, still alive and kicking and talking shit. It was awesome.
Hell yeah. Now we'll start. Who does the writing for the band as far as the lyrics and stuff like that? Because we're going to start getting into the musical discussion here.
It is collaborative.
Okay.
We also one of our little gimmicks is to have like a guest feature on each song. So there's like another element, another voice, another person writing a small section of the song as well, but mainly AJ and I.
Cool. Now we'll go into pretty much the discography of Betty Gray. I picked out some lyrics that I like. We'll go over like what the songs mean and stuff like that for the people, because I think that it makes for a good discussion to kind of get what y'all are about. Now I gotta say, like, y'all have some pretty funny band. Well, you got funny songs and stuff like that as far as the titles go. I was curious, like, if it's just random, is there inspiration for that? Because there's a lot of bands that have funny names and stuff. Like, I set my friends on fire. I wrestled a bear once. We butter the bread with butter. Shit like that. Did bands like that influence the sort of silly titles?
I think the silly titles are influenced by our silly fucking conversations.
We're all fucking funny,
Someone will
weird.
say will become the title of the song we're working on.
I gotcha.
Some of them relate to the lyrics, and content as well.
All right, so the first record was Ain't Nothing Like the Last Minute. It was recorded in New York, right?
Yes.
Talk about the recording process and what that was like.
Drove there after work, I think on a Thursday, and just woke up, tried to get as close to perfect tracks. We try to do it like first live, and then like get, as long as the drums sound good, we can always overdub after that. So Friday, Saturday, left on Sunday.
Gotcha. Where was it recorded?
At Raw Recording. It's about 45 minutes to an hour north of the city on the Connecticut side.
Okay, cool. The first single that y'all
Shout out to
released.
JC.
Hell yeah. The first single y'all released was called All Up in This Piece. I read it's a song about the celebration of obstacles overcome and expectations exceeded, right?
Yeah.
Now, I picked the lyrics. If you ain't still about it now, then you never really were, and all the bad checks that you cashed with your mouth are about to bounce on your ass. I liked if you ain't
Okay.
still about it now, then you never really were, because that's kind of goes into succeeding as a musician and stuff like that, because a lot of people, not just in music, in life, they talk a lot about the stuff that they're going to do, and they don't do it and stuff like that. So go further into like what exactly, the obstacles and stuff like that that you were talking about.
I feel like that life, the area that we are in, which is sort of similar to the area that you're in, it's very close to the capital, so it's kind of transient. People come and there's people playing shows right now that won't be playing shows 5 years ago. There's people 5 years ago that aren't playing shows now. It's kind of come and goes, but I guess in that particular song, it was sort of a shout out to the one.
Okay. Now, Ninjin ain't easy. I'm assuming this is a reference to the pimpin' ain't easy, right?
Mm-mm.
That's a reference
Kind
to
of.
Diamond Dave, West Virginia Ninja.
A Judy Chop.
So talk about that reference.
That's AJ's trip.
That's not mine.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was you.
You're the
Talking about
one.
Nothing but a Judy Chop. That was you.
Yeah, Diamond Dave. You gotta check him out. He's a redneck ninja.
He was from Maury, like the show Maury, I think, or the other, those guys.
I don't even.
Like
Yeah.
Jerry Springer. Or
Yeah,
something.
Jerry Springer. That's where he's
Oh shit, okay.
from one of those shows. It's hilarious. It's a good episode. This is an inside joke. We just named the song after it. That's just a bunch of joking around.
Coincidentally, that song has Justin.
Yes, it
who-
does. Hell yeah, shout out. And I read that the song is about the complicity and complacency of greedy, whiny, rich dudes. So elaborate on that, because that can go into many different facets.
I feel like there's a bunch of spoiled brats out there that don't have anything to complain about. They do. Meanwhile, they make their ends meet,
Like Diamond Dave.
like Diamond Dave.
I gotcha. I always like this butcher's dozen lyric. If some of you don't have a safety net that lets you sink this fucking deep, it that always reminds me of people who just have never had to grind or really go through anything.
I like that too.
And so, because those people live in a different kind of reality. You know what I mean? They don't see shit the way that some of us see shit. And they have a peachy clean image of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And a lot of times those people are well off, which is why I say that. The lyrics I liked, I hear a lot of words, but I don't see action. At least I can say I try. All you ever really want to do is talk shit. We were just talking about, how that plays into being a musician and stuff like that. This was this Justin, when there's fascists on the street, do something about it. If I can't take them all, then I'll die trying.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I should have known. I like to put your money where your mouth is. I wanted to say that I think that would make like a dope ass t-shirt.
Yeah.
Luxury over survival. It ain't
Where our
convenient
mercy
to
is.
luxury over survival. It ain't convenient to give a damn. Deadbeat on arrival. Your pity party is a public sham. Can you talk about that? I like that line, especially the last line. Your pity party is a public sham. Like, what did you mean by that?
Just the general complaining. It seems to be whenever anyone else is getting a platform, it seems there are certain powers in our country that feel like those people shouldn't be represented. Deadbeat on Arrival. Just like it really doesn't hurt you to pay a little bit forward. You're good.
Yeah, definitely. And I was interested in what this reference was. Do It for Isidore, 1939. I read that.
I have to actually look that up. That's a guy. Back when World War II was a thing in Nazi Germany, it was a Jewish guy who was like protesting and had a whole thing. Um, Justin would know more about it than me, but that's how he explained it to me.
Okay, so when I looked it up, I believe I read something along the lines of that, and I figured it was that. But there was also like, I believe there's a Saint Isidore or something, and he's like has to do with farming and agriculture, shit like that. There's not much that comes up when you look that up. So
I feel like wasn't he the guy that cut the ring off of Sauron's finger in Lord of the
That's
Rings?
Isildur.
that's very close. But no, Justin, his writing, that dude's got the craziest references and stuff like that. Like that's quite literally all we talked about for 3 hours was just all his references that he puts into the music and stuff like that. He knows a lot.
He does. I feel like I learn something every time I see
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat play.
Yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah. And that's why I love having these discussions and stuff like that. Like when I interviewed Scum, they had a lot to say about like like in their bio they had like feminist literature and stuff, and when I brought it up, they were able to go like all into the background of the people and shit like that. And I like that, because I like other people learning. I like learning shit like that. There's an octopus in the neighborhood. How did that title come about?
So the final lyrics in that song are actually the motto of Miss Frizzle. And there's an octopus in the neighborhood is a line in the theme song for Magic School Bus.
Okay. And the song's about moving forward without holding back, right?
Right.
Do you want to talk about that?
Just gotta keep on keeping on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the lyrics I liked: cut the crap and get your shit together for your own sake. No more bitching, just handle your business and be done with it. Sort of similar to some of the other lyrics, but I think that's kind of more about like taking accountability, right? Like personal accountability and stuff.
Dude, that's about me. Like the paperwork and uh eating right isn't so bad once you actually get started in doing it. So it's actually kind of a reminder to myself. But it seems like actually starting good habits and the actual quitting of bad habits seems to be harder than the actual doing the habits itself.
Absolutely. That habit forming and breaking is something I'm really like getting into lately, trying to change certain shit. And yeah, that's absolutely true. And a lot of it just has to do with,
I'm a
discipline.
serial procrastinator. I will put off doing some paperwork I'm dreading till the absolute last due date. And then when I finally sit down to do it, it wasn't that bad. And so, yeah.
Definitely. That's something I'm like, and that's like also like with going out to shows, going out to, just any social events and stuff like that. A lot of times it can be like really hard and like debilitating to get out of the house because, you got to get up and around other people. But once you're there, you're like,
Right.
oh, this is awesome. Like I need to do this more.
Yeah, I totally feel that. It
Yeah.
can definitely apply to social things.
Well, like me, I know like I went to like all these shows by myself, and I did know a few people at some of the shows. I ended up talking to like strangers and stuff like that. But that's something that a lot of people like just have to get practice with, is going and talking to total strangers, because it's like one of the hardest fucking things ever, especially like if you get up in front of a crowd and stuff like that.
Right on.
Yeah, and like also like, when it comes to being a musician, if you want to book a gig with a big band or if you want to establish a relationship with a big artist, or me, if I want to interview somebody, like you got to be able to have the ability to like go up to people and talk to them without, falling over yourself and stuff. If revenge is best served cold, why does it feel warm and fuzzy? I don't even gotta ask, why that title's true, because I mean, goddamn if that ain't right. And the song from it said is about anyone who's experienced abuse. I don't know if y'all would want to get into that or not.
It's kind of self-explanatory.
Okay. The last line on this, the writing on it was crazy. I relish each stage of your decay and I flourish further as you decline. That is poetic. That is gruesomely poetic.
Thank you.
And as far as the abuse thing goes, like we don't have to get into it, but I just kind of wanted to like specify which kind. Is this kind of like relationship abuse and stuff? Because I'm reading the lyrics and it's talking about like not having love left in your heart and stuff like that.
So it was with my old lady at the time, and some of the lines actually are kind of derived from that, and because it was actually really impactful. I'm having a brain fart. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but when I was writing the song, as far as the last line, I don't know, it seemed brutal.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, like sometimes, some people don't understand where the brutal shit comes from. Like some people take it way too literally. Like they think that, some people like, because there's some metal shit that's like crazy. Like if you listen to Volvodenia, it's like he's literally talking about like eating a lady, and there's people out there that'll be like, why would anyone listen to this? But it's like a lot of that is either humor or it comes from pain, and you got to know like what kind of pain it takes to like feel something like that or think something like that. I like to point that out to the people.
Right. Well, any sort of abuse creates, negative feelings and pain, and whether it's been done to you or someone who suffered through that, and that kind of aggression just kind of comes out, comes out somewhere.
Definitely. And especially love, that shit can make people act irrationally, emotionally, especially. The next song, Rom Complacency, featuring Gilbo Baggins. I like that name. And the song is about dismantling the establishment, government, corporations, fuck all of them, the whole 9 yards. We won't be buried beneath the whims of cruel men who fashion themselves as gods. So I'll continue smashing my face with these bricks, counting fragments of teeth and all the blessings I've missed. So I kind of wanted y'all to talk about what parts of the establishment you don't like and why.
Man, I feel like both of our little two-party system are two sides of the same coin, and I see all these people simping for them online. I mean, none of them do not give a fuck about us. They're all getting their checks. They all have their donors who have donated way more money than we make in a year to their campaigns, and they owe those guys favors, not us.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's a system one way or another that would work from us unless we took it into our own hands.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like,
Trying to buy an island and just have everybody just do their own thing. Play my island.
Yeah, I definitely
Island
like
Fest.
I believe in like the Constitution and everything like that as an American. I really do. But I think a lot of times we really got to consider like at the time it was written, America was like a fucking small fraction of what it is now as far as the size and everything like that, which is why everything is, I feel like, so crazy and stuff like that. It's just
We didn't even have an Alaska yet.
right.
Alaska wasn't even invented.
Shit, most states weren't even invented at one
You're still
point.
Russian, man.
But Joe Rogan's got a pretty funny bit about that. He's like, yo, they wrote that bitch with a feather. He's like, if they came back in time now, they'd be like, y'all didn't write any new shit. Like, what? But at the same time, there's a reason that it was written. And that's what makes America America, I suppose, is the fact that we have the Constitution, the Bill of Rights and stuff. Did y'all have any like personal like bad experiences with police or anybody in power?
I don't know about John.
Yeah, but I'll plead the fifth on that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say like we're not like here to incriminate ourselves or anything. I just
Say the
more-
whole Practice victory thing.
Better Call Saul. All right. For the Sake of Spite is the next song, and it's about refusing to live restrained to the arbitrary constructs of the status quo and pursuing your own fulfillment. This is all about what Harbor Discussions is about. And it's the whole reason I really started this platform is because I used to listen to podcasts at work all day, lots of comedians and stuff. They're talking about how they started their careers against all odds, everything like that. And I just kept hearing every day in these podcasts that, you got to pursue something, and you got to do it like now, you know what I mean? Especially like, I'm 21. So hearing like people that are older than me go, if you're in your 20s, like start doing it now. And I'm like, all right, I'll start doing that shit now. So do you want to talk about, the meaning behind all that?
Can you grab me one too?
Yeah, what do you want?
You are asking about songs that was our first album, so I'm having to like rack my brain trying to remember.
I like to go back, man. It's all about the lore.
I think just showing initiative and an investment in yourself in general. Again, directed at myself.
Yeah, I think about just working for someone else. You know what I mean? Especially when you mention the status quo and stuff like that, because I work everywhere I worked basically, whether it was in a mall as a cashier, electrician's apprentice, in a warehouse. There's a status quo you have to meet, and in one way or another, it's just all about the numbers. When I was packaging, I was packaging clothes into mail pouches and shit like that. And they would literally have everybody picking the orders and they'd have me back there by myself packing them because all they needed to do was scan the shit and it would boost the numbers. So they didn't give a shit about how bad it was back there for us. They just cared about getting the numbers up. Same thing with, construction and stuff like that. A lot of times it's like, as soon as you're done, right on to the next, and stuff like that. You'll neglect your health and stuff like that in order just to meet the status quo. And then warehouse is the same thing. You know what I mean? They tend to make living conditions at work worse just for the status quo. You know what I mean? Just to reach them numbers and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
You have any personal experiences with that?
So I remember, like I said earlier, my first job out of college was basically a cabinet company where they shaped raw wood into kitchen cabinets, and I worked there. I was production manager there for 7 years, and it was the most monotonous, redundant, repetitive thing that I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I would blow my nose after leaving that sawmill, and my boogers it would be like rainbow boogers. They would
Oh,
be
man.
colors: red, brown, yellow, green, black.
I feel that, dude, because it's dusty as shit in the warehouse that I work in. These bookshelves be getting mad dusty. And there's times where, I blow my nose and I see the fucking black dust and shit. I'm like, my God, this must not be good.
Thank you for reminding me of that. I think our next song's gonna be about the different colors of boogers.
All right. Hell yeah. What is it gonna be a booger related title at all?
Probably.
I really like the lyrics to this because it really kind of talks about the position you're in when you're not fulfilling a passion of some sort. You're only dancing to the yank of strings until they form a noose around your neck. How can you be so idle and passive in a life, dangling from a fraying thread to be tethered or to be severed? That's again, like I bring this up a lot, but like metal lyrics and how metal sounds can be totally different. You know, that's some poetic shit again. You know what I mean?
Thank you. You're making me blush.
But nah, I mean, like that's really how it goes because if you all you do is work for someone else and you know deep down that's not what you want to do, you're essentially making a noose around your neck because you're gonna get depressed and you know your life's gonna feel meaningless and stuff like that. And everyone goes through that. You know, anybody that's working a job they don't want to work, they feel that at some point. But it's such a system that we've built as a society that it's like no one knows how to exist without it almost. It's fucked up because, you know, the people that like to go against the system, they don't live a job. They just kind of go day by day, living wherever, walking through the woods. People call them crazy and shit like that, but you know, they'd be the most happy motherfuckers for real.
We'd all rather be fishing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if we all started fishing, growing food, stuff like that, being self-sufficient, then shit, all the corporations and shit like that would fail, which is why, you know, they be trying to stop shit like that.
Island Fest.
Fictional blue magic creatures. Fun title. Ooh. Song is about a reimagining of one of your past band's old songs. So talk about that.
Played in a hardcore band with some older kids from my high school back in the day,
Okay.
and just kind of stuck with me. We're writing, you know, kind of jammed on that a little bit, and it just got stuck in there.
Okay. And I read also, this is not for the goblins or dwarves or the elves or the orcs. This is for the Smurfs. Is that just funny or is that like part of the song at all? Do y'all like getting into the like, I don't know whether you want to call it science fiction, but almost like, you know, the Lord of the Rings kind of shit. You know what I mean?
All the above.
Gotcha.
All the
Just
above.
having fun with it, man.
Hell yeah.
Paying homage to those that came before.
Gotcha. That was all I had for the first release. I saw a song or songs. Tell me if they're the same song or different songs. I saw My Cock Rages On and Cock Rage.
They're the same song.
Gotcha. Are you able to talk about what this song is about?
Spartacus.
Spartacus.
AJ and I's favorite TV show is a show called Spartacus that was on.
Okay, I remember that
it was on
show.
Stars.
Yeah.
And it's these slaves, these gladiators who are just going up against the Roman Empire, and it's badass. Everything you would want in a show: sex, violence.
I have not thought about that show in years because my parents used to
Poetry,
watch that.
witty humor. Xena Warrior Princess is in there. She plays one of the main characters. It's badass.
Yeah,
But,
no.
My Cock Rages On is the Gladiators drinking song.
Gotcha.
It's a show tune.
Hell yeah. I had something I was gonna say. I forget. What were y'all talking about? It was about what the song is about. If you remind me again, I can probably remember. Gladiator. Oh yeah, Spartacus. Spartacus. Yeah, that shit was like Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit. I remember like being a little kid, and my dad and mom would watch it and shit like that, and I would see like all the fucking crazy fucking nude scenes and shit like that. I'd be like, God damn, this show's crazy.
Yeah.
I kind of want to rewatch that now. Now that you mentioned
Good.
that, I haven't thought about it in years.
Without your parents.
All right. So I noticed when it comes to like Facebook flyers and stuff like that, y'all use some pretty like funny like stock images and stuff like that. What's the process of just picking those out? Is it totally random, or is it come up in conversation like you said?
I feel like if people see the same like show flyer, it seems like people get image fatigue. So I just like sometimes we'll just like put the text of the flyer on like a silly image and just post that, see if that might reach more people. It might reach less people, but it doesn't hurt trying. I don't
Right.
know. I don't know what works. I just
I-
throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
I do think that it works. I don't know if it works necessarily in bringing more people to shows, but I do think it attracts you to the flyer more, because like when it comes to like the flyers that I can remember, it's all the unique ones or the funny ones. I like it when they incorporate memes and shit like that. So y'all just released a new record, Tear the Stars from the Sky. Y'all had problems uploading it to DistroKid, right?
Excuse me?
Y'all had problems uploading your new record to DistroKid, right? Because the songs were short or something like that.
No, that was with My Cock Rages On.
Okay.
Because it was just so short. So we just made the sample from Spartacus longer, and that was fun.
What sample was that?
It was just a sample from Spartacus, My Cock Rages On.
I got you, but like from the show, do you remember like what the lines were and stuff like that?
AJ, what are you standing on?
Oh, sacred ground.
I gotcha. I don't have y'all released the lyrics for the new record yet?
Physically, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're on the.
They're on the album.
CDs.
We can mail you a CD, man.
I
Or-
gotcha. No, I just meant
Same.
like as far as online, I don't think you've posted them yet, right?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, so just making sure I didn't miss it. I
No.
do have all the titles of the songs and stuff like that, so I'll go through them and you can kind of talk about what they're about. Always a Little Bit Left in the Tank featuring Rachel Scott.
That song is about kind of being in a band and being on the road. It seems like we got to, but I mean it can apply to life in general. There's like a recharge point of the day. There is a having to psych yourself up to do something point of the day, and there's like being in the zone part of the day, and it seems like it's a cycle.
Absolutely. That's something that I deal with on a constant loop. You know what I mean? Especially like when you have to juggle a passion and a job you don't want to do. Because that job that you don't want to do, that shit is what drives your motivation down, because you get all tired and you get all run down from that. And, it sucks because like the things you don't want to do is what usually gives you a steady income, benefits, stuff like that. And you get comfortable with that. And it's really hard to make your own money doing something that you want to do, which is why most people don't keep at it and stuff like that. And I think that's why it's important to like continue to speak and motivate people to, keep working at it. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes a long time and shit like that. And it's
Yeah.
important that when you reach those low points, like you were talking about, not to bottom out, not to give up and shit like that. Because it's like you said, there's always a little bit left. You just gotta kind of gotta coast to the gas station, I guess, more or less.
Yeah.
This next title's crazy. A trivial concession begrudgingly surrendered at the opportune moment.
Can you say it 3 times fast?
Fuck. A trivial concession begrudgingly surrendered at the opportune moment. A trivial concession begrudgingly surrendered at the opportune moment. A trivial concession begrudgingly surrendered at the opportune moment. I'm reading it, so I don't know if that helped.
Dude, you are hired to do all my
I guess I get practice speaking now.
There you go.
But what's that song about?
Oh. Playing a bunch of shows and actually playing the same spot. Personality that will all sorts of just like venting about that.
Okay.
Yeah, just basically an inner scene song.
Gotcha. Raised by a Wild Pack of Cigarettes featuring Tony Marks. What is a wild pack of cigarettes versus a regular pack of cigarettes?
It's a pack of cigarettes that hasn't been domesticated. It might not be on the newspapers. It might be on the couch.
May or may not be dipped in a suspicious liquid.
Yeah. Probably hasn't had all its shots.
Skipped a grade.
Yeah.
awful rabies.
But real talk, what's it about?
Oh. Sort of again, building on some of the other things from the album. Just not being bound by the conventions of society. And turning into a werewolf or a satyr or a mythological creature of the night, and just embracing who you are.
I gotcha. The immovable force of an unstoppable object featuring Nick Sawaya. Is that how you say it? Sawaya.
It's close.
What is that song about, and where does the title come from?
Again, the titles are all kind of silly stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
A physics concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Songs just basically about helping people out,
Okay.
not punching down, trying to give a hand up.
Gotcha. So much for slappy endings. Play on happy endings. Is this like? Is there any like meaning to the slappy endings, or is it just like a play on words?
No, it was an inside joke a long time ago when we first started writing this album. And I think it was like originally sloppy, or it wasn't.
It was Josh.
Yeah,
Josh
yeah. It was
took
our
it.
other bass player that is in the military and had to take off. You know, an old bass player of ours. So it was just an
Shout
inside
out to
joke.
Josh.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Yep. Just an
Gotcha. You have a whole song dedicated to Bojangles, I see.
yes.
And you also did like a Bojangles inspired design. Can you talk about like the love y'all got for Bojangles? Because I've never been.
Have you ever had a cheddar bow biscuit?
No rounds.
Oh, the Cajun filet. Get that with
Pimento
egg and
cheese.
pimento
Pimento
cheese.
It's pretty good. It's good. We try to get it on tour.
Yeah, because the ones in Virginia are trash. Go to the
Compared to South.
Carolinas, man.
I forget now where exactly are like all Bojangles located, because it's not everywhere, right?
Some in Virginia, there are some in South Carolina. There's probably some in other states too. But they're doing something right.
Yeah, something that seems to be the case with a lot of these like regional joints, like In-N-Out. Like everyone says In-N-Out's the shit, and you can only get it in certain areas and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been there either.
Whoa, White Castle. I want White Castle. I want to try White Castle. And I want to try In-N-Out. Those are the two places.
Dude, you
that I
would love
like to
In-N-Out.
try.
It's just like California McDonald's.
I don't know. I want to try both those places. So
I feel like I've had them like frozen White Castle sliders. I'm sure
Can't be the same.
I don't know how different the quality
Yeah.
is.
Can't be the same.
Probably not. I always think of the Harold and Kumar flick when I think of White Castle. That's like
Yeah.
classic. Fucking, I almost want to have like, I feel like you gotta have an experience like that to go to White Castle.
We gotta make it a point, boys.
We'll go, we'll go
We've driven
next
through.
time.
Yeah, but was there a White Castle? I thought you said something about White Castle.
Well, yeah,
We'll
in
do
the
one.
movie they were in Newark.
Yeah.
It happened to be at like 3 o'clock in the morning when we were driving by one.
I wonder if anyone has ever tried to do like a similar thing. Like they stopped at all the same, like, they stopped at that school and at a party, shit like that. Like I'm sure it's been done in some facet.
If it hasn't, it will probably before all is said and done. Maybe inspired by this podcast.
I would hope so. And last one, dead dudes don't do dirt.
But use
What was that?
another song about abuse.
I gotcha. That's what I thought. It just cut out a little bit, so I wanted to make sure. I saw that y'all were on the Cast That Ends Creation, right? Episode 117.
I think so, yeah.
Now, was that like another like kind of formal podcast like this?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Is that based in Virginia?
No, that dude lives in Texas.
Gotcha. That's cool though. How did so I'm assuming he reached out?
Yeah, we've played a couple of shows with his band. Shout out to the Sound That Ends Creation.
Fuck yeah.
One man show.
Yeah, he's a one-man
One-man
band.
show.
Oh,
Yeah, he's cool, man. He plays a lot of shows. He really plays shows.
I suppose it would be easier if it is just you, because I mean that's the thing with like bands. I'm assuming y'all deal with that with like schedules aligning and stuff like that, right?
Oh, do we ever?
Yeah, it's something I deal with too with this, I mean, and it's like I see why people have like people that schedule all their shit for them, because it can definitely like you'll
I
be
do too.
forgetting.
Yeah, Joel does all of that, so
I saw on Instagram y'all covered the Power Rangers theme song. Is that like something that y'all are really into?
grew up to it, man. We grew up to
Who hates Power Rangers?
all of us, every single one of us grew up to the Power Rangers.
What kind of person does not like a Power Ranger?
Now, from what I understand, like there is different eras of Power Rangers, right?
There are indeed.
Original Power
Yeah.
Rangers.
And y'all, I'm assuming y'all rock with the original.
Yes.
Yes, but there are some good after seasons. I have kids, so I've been watching the newer Power Rangers with them, and there's some cool little plot devices they throw in there.
Yeah, when I was a kid, that's some shit I can remember watching. It's pretty crazy. That was a good, it was pretty good for, like what it was at the time and everything like that.
And they got a badass opening theme song.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think it ever failed to get you hyped.
Absolutely.
Recently I saw like a Never Scared video on IG. Is that a new song or is that part of the album?
That's just a dumb, silly cover we did of Bone Crusher.
Okay. And where did you like film that at and stuff?
Richmond Coliseum? Is that
Yeah.
what that place
Yeah,
is
it's
called?
an abandoned coliseum in Richmond.
Yep, in the city.
Gotcha. So there's some funny pictures and stuff that I came across on socials and stuff like that. There's this one which I've sort of talked about this topic. I don't know how well my viewers will be able to see it, but basically it's a picture of the Arthur characters, and it says 5 tickets to Turnstile, please, and they're like all dressed in like Thrasher and Stussy and stuff like that. And we've talked about on the podcast before how there's a lot of discussion right now in the hardcore community about Turnstile and stuff like that. And I wanted to talk about the meme because I do think it's funny. There's people who can't take jokes and stuff like that. But I think it does do a good job of pointing out like what I think people are more or less like their disapproval is of the new audience, right? That's kind of what the meme's getting at.
I have not seen that particular meme, but
It's
shout
pro-
out to Turnstile.
yeah, no, they're sick. I just more or less think that like
I
it's
like their new shit better than I like their old shit.
yeah, but basically the picture's just like pointing out that like it's a bunch of I guess preppy kids coming now. And
Get
on
them in
my
the scene.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, get
There's
them
no
in there.
point- No point in gatekeeping.
We love everybody.
yeah. I've heard both sides of the argument and stuff like that, and I understand,
I
know,
bet they
kind
have more money to buy T-shirts with.
yeah. But no, I just think people don't, people get weird about new people coming in and stuff.
Like there's a certain personality and certain people that you don't want at any particular events. I don't think, but aside from intolerance, I don't think there's anything that you shouldn't be tolerant of. I mean, I don't care if someone's dressed like they're going to church. I don't care if someone's dressed like they're those types of people at shows, and as long as they're having a good time and not preventing anyone else from having a good time, more power to them.
Absolutely. I fully agree with that. So I'm pretty much ending on my notes here. I have some other pictures and stuff like that. Were y'all able to see the picture I showed well at all?
Not so much.
All right.
It's
We'll
okay,
see.
though.
Yeah, no, we'll see if we can't try to get you to see some of these other ones. There's this picture here of a fire and a house. It's from an old show.
Oh, that's my house.
Okay. Yeah, do you want to talk about that night and everything like that?
There you go.
Orca, where I live, it's in the middle of a field. So out there and have a good time, have a fire, cook out, you know.
Yeah.
That night, that was the manifestation night, wasn't it?
Yeah, we have bands from Germany come hang out.
Oh shit.
Yeah, our
Okay.
boys from Germany were playing. Orlando Furioso played the show too, and we had a tire pyre fire. Just so many old used tires stacked up on a bonfire.
I'm assuming it was a pretty big fire from what it looked like.
Oh, it was huge.
Did it get concerning at any point?
Not to us.
Okay. If you're a wimp, I guess. There's this picture here that I saw. You would appear to be upside down on stage.
Yeah, man, that's at Riff House, I think.
And was that just a backflip?
No, that was like the rafters.
Gotcha. I
Can't do
gotcha.
the backflip.
It's a very good picture. Who took that picture?
My boy Trevor. He plays in a band. Shout out to Down with Rent.
Hell yeah. And then there's this picture here. I kind of wanted to know what led up to this. It would appear it passed out with
What?
what
What is that?
That's AJ snuggling with the mannequin.
What did I miss? Oh my god.
Do y'all remember how that ended up happening?
I can guess.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
That was we played here, right?
Yeah, I think that was at a house show that we threw last minute for
Yeah.
some touring bands because the venue was canceled. The venue like canceled the date or was overbooked or whatever. So and we made it work. Got fucked up, had a good time, and AJ was cuddling the mannequin before the night was over with.
As one sexy mannequin.
Some Dahmer shit, man.
So like, did you like actually just like grab it and hold it, or did I didn't know if they like made you pose with it for the picture like while you were sleeping?
I think I just pulled it in close and went for the spoon, man.
Well, there's a lot of memes that go around when it's like you're at the sleepover and your friend forgets to give you a blanket, and then it'll be like the most random shit. It'll be like someone sleeping with a table on top of them and shit like that. A fucking tarp. You know, because like that's true. Like when they forget to bring you a blanket, you should be grabbing anything and shit.
Yeah.
The last photograph I had was of my favorite merch pieces that y'all did. I hope y'all can see it pretty well. It's these two pieces, the hoodie with a tribal-ish looking logo. Do you want to talk about like what that is? I might not be describing it right. It's like almost like a emperor-ish looking thing.
It's a samurai.
Samurai, yeah. See,
Yeah.
the word was eluding me. Does that come from like any specific samurai reference, or is it just you like samurai shit?
Like both. All
Yeah, they're
the
just the shit. Samurai.
samurais are
They're
badass.
awesome.
Yeah, and that was my favorite design, which is why I wanted to talk about that. And then the other design is like some kind of horror chick. She's like bleeding from the mouth and like holding a skull and stuff like that. Is there any inspiration from like horror movies and stuff
She's
like
hot.
that? She is.
She's not bleeding from the mouth. She just bit someone.
Ah, did she in fact bite that head, or she just get another
Possibly.
head? I gotcha. So like, who do you go to for the merch and stuff like that? Have you gone to different people over the years?
We have gone to people. We have a homie in Maryland, Matt, who prints a lot of our stuff. And there's a guy named Evan for North Carolina, like near the Charlotte area, who prints sometimes for us. And there's some stuff that we do DIY. So it just depends on what the item is and
Right.
like turnover cost.
I gotcha. And then there was this picture here, but it's more of a meme, so I'll just describe it. It's Patrick Bateman from American Psycho holding your album, and he's going into his like whole rant about albums, because that's something for people who don't know. He does that in the movie. He's like, "This here is from this year" and whatnot, and then he fucking hits you with an axe and stuff like that. I think it's that I don't know if you've seen like, but there's like a lot of people are using like the Patrick Bateman image as like an alpha male kind of thing. Have you seen any of that?
I have not.
It's
I
it's
definitely wouldn't consider Patrick Bateman an alpha male.
yeah, I mean, it's interesting and I get where people are coming from, but at the same time, like, I think shit like that is where people get the toxic masculinity from. Cause like, cause I get it. Cause in a sense, like, there are parts to him, that I see why, not the serial killer shit, but more or less just like, he was confident and took care of himself and shit like that. But like, these fucking dudes are like fucking idolizing a serial killer on TikTok. I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
That was it for all my notes, and I wanted y'all to shout out your upcoming shows and stuff like that. I have a couple of them listed here. You're going to be playing with Hazing Over and Wielded Steel at the Canal Club, right? At
Next
22nd.
Saturday.
Hell yeah, I'm catching those two bands with Deep Rest over at the Auto Bar. So when I saw that y'all
Okay.
were playing with them, I was like, oh, sick.
Oh yeah.
You're playing at the Chug-a-Lug House on August 12th.
Yeah.
Now, is that a house show, or is it just called?
That's a house show. Shout out to Love Roses, the guitarist of Love Roses. Brandon has a garage that he has bands in. It's always a good time. DIY. It's going to be hot.
Yeah, they usually are. You're doing the Slash Run on August 20th, 26th. You'll be at the Kennel in York, PA. September 2nd, the Back to School Fall Brawl. Am I missing any shows?
So that you said the 12th, the day before the 11th, we're going to be at Crayola House with Butt Pirate, The Get Off, and Constituents.
Hell yeah! Shout out to Constituents.
Yeah, it's two tours are kind of intersecting. Butt Pirate's going to be on tour, and then Constituents crossing paths, and our friends in the Get Off are playing, and we are playing, and that is at the aforementioned Crayola House.
Ah, hell yeah.
We're going on a little run with Mostly Dead. The first date is actually in how do you say it? Dundalk?
Yep. Some
Dundalk?
people call it dirty Dundalk.
Dirty Dundalk.
Oh, that's what we're calling it.
Dirty Dundalk.
Dirty
Yeah.
Dundalk.
That's with Jose and Constituents other band, Inferior Humanoid.
Okay.
And that's part of a run with the Mostly Dead. So that's at Keys Brewery.
Yep. Okay.
Next day we are in PA and then Long Island and then DC.
Cool. Cool. I know y'all just released a record and stuff like that, but is there like other music that's either already done or in the works?
As soon as we're done with this podcast, we're going to talk about that. We are literally in the room to do that.
Alrighty. Was there anything else that y'all wanted to talk about? Is there any like personal hobbies and stuff like that that you get into outside of the music?
Growing weed.
Blow weed, man. No, man. I'm just trying to be the best father I can be. You know, it takes up most of my time outside of this.
Respect.
That's yeah. I mean, all my personal hobby. I mean, I started working out again recently. You know, trying to get buff. You know, get some swole.
Yep, that's always good.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, that's other than this, man. Yeah, in being a father, everything else is pretty boring. But
I
Gotcha.
also have kids, and I do a bunch of family stuff, and I work a lot, and I like if I have some time aside and family and work, I like learning about mythology, like
Nice.
ancient times.
Yeah, that stuff's deep.
I think it's like there's all the werewolves and satyrs and centaurs and mermaids, all these human animal hybrids, and they didn't even have laboratories or genetic engineering back then. So you got to think, how did these things happen?
That is interesting. I've never kind of made that connection because, like, yeah, people be doing all sorts of shit with, modifying animal genes and shit. They're trying to make lab meat and shit like that now.
oh,
What about you? What are your hobbies?
Oh man,
growing the sickest beard possible.
yeah. one of these days. No, I own a small carpentry business. This is my 8th year in business for myself. So
Okay.
I'm gonna break free of the grind here shortly.
Do you want to promote your business?
Mm.
Okay.
No,
Shout out to O'Berry Home Services.
Yeah, all the work I can handle for right now.
Oh,
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, no, I'm just saying in general, because
Fucking talented.
he's
so
like the
talented.
Michelangelo of
He
carpentry.
is fucking talented, man. He's very talented.
He's like Jesus's dad. He's Joseph level carpenter.
Seriously, like you'd see his fucking pictures on Google Images. That's the kind of shit that AJ does. That's,
Hell yeah. Nice.
I'm busy with them. I work, run equipment, and push dirt around, put pipe in the ground and shit. And I just on my free time, I hang out with my
Smoke
family and smoke pot, grow weed, fucking drink beer and hang out and enjoy myself and fucking spend time with kids, man.
Hell yeah, sounds good. That was everything that I had. I want to thank y'all for coming on, and again for being the first band to ever reach out to me and ask to come on. That'll always mean a lot. Y'all are always gonna have a
thanks for
special.
having me.
You're gonna have a special place in Harvard Discussions Hall of Fame one day for sure. Hell yeah. So yeah, guys. It was cool to see y'all. And if there's not anything else, I think we can wrap it up.
All right.
Cool.
I'm gonna take it easy.
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Check out our album.
Will do. I'll promote all that and stuff like that. And I think I'm going to try to get this out today because we weren't here in person and stuff like that to take pictures. So that way I can just like put a video out right away to promote it and stuff. I'm going to listen through and timestamp it. So maybe later this evening and stuff.
All right. Sounds good.
Hey, you should come to the Crayola house, man. You won't regret it.
Hey, we're playing a show in Maryland soon too.
Yeah. How far are you from the Dundalk?
Probably about the same as like Baltimore. So I can probably make it out to the Dundalk show for sure. Hell yeah. All right, guys. I'll be in touch.
All
See ya.
right.
All right, man.
Hell yeah.